All right, so we are live, guys. Welcome back to Dealing with the Deckers. I'm Candace Decker, realtor on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and this is my co-host and sister-in-law, Jamie Decker, who works in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And we have a super special guest today, one of our dear friends, Joe Kotoch. Joe, you lead the Joe Kotoch team of Compass, working out of Chicago, the North Shore, and the western suburbs. And you were recently on an episode of HGTV's House Hunters. And we're just dying to get the scoop and the behind the scenes of what it's really like to be on the show. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Really excited to be with you. I've got to see the show several times, and really fun to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks. Let's just start out by setting the scene for the episode, just in case people haven't seen it yet. So you're working with buyers Mark and Carter. They're originally from Pennsylvania, and the episode starts with them kind of how it normally does, how they met, which they met at a bar over some fried pickles, very Midwestern. She's a comedian. He works in finance. They're looking down in the city in Ukrainian Village, Wicker Park area. They are first-time buyers, and they've got a pretty healthy budget, $1 million to spend down there. They, of course, like many episodes, differing views on what they want. Mark really wants a townhouse. Carter wants a single-family home. Mark thinks he's a handyman, wants to do projects. Carter's not a fan. So walk us through these three properties, because they're pretty different in terms of the types of properties and price point.
So I actually connected with Mark and Carter back in maybe the fall of last year or so. And so when we connected, they had originally inquired about some smaller homes that were potential fixer-uppers. And, as is the case with most buyers that I start working with, I like to consult with them to kind of understand what they're both looking for, understand how to build a consensus, what to identify, and kind of refine their search that way. And it became pretty clear that Mark was definitely a little more conservative in some regards, but was also very much I can fix this, I can fix that type. And Carter was a little more cynical, perhaps because she's a comedian. And so was definitely, I don't think you can do this. And they were actually, they're a wonderful couple, and they're actually very funny in person together. So it was a lot of fun getting to know them and then helping them in their search.
Yeah, I thought it was actually one of my favorite episodes I ever watched, because their banter back and forth was so good. And I knew as soon as they met over pickles, I'm like, I'm going to love this couple. I mean, it's so funny. And what struck me was they were a little bit opposite on a lot of things. Like Mark wanted to be a handy guy. I think he mentioned putting his Christmas stockings up with a nail gun. So he was like all gung-ho. And I don't know, Joe, if you find this a lot when working with buyers, but a lot of times there's one who wants to do projects and others who are like, no way. But they always say opposite attract, so it makes sense.
It's so true, Candace. I have to say, every time I work with a couple and there's talk of a fixer-upper or projects, it's always one member of that couple. It's usually, from my experience, the man that wants to do the projects, and it's usually the woman in the relationship who's like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. Let's just get a finished product. So it is what it is, but it's definitely fun to kind of see the back and forth.
Yeah, it was cool too, because Mark really wanted a townhome, right? So he had grown up with a townhome. And did he grow up in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, he grew up, I believe, in Pittsburgh or just outside of Pittsburgh. So yeah, he had a very nostalgic upbringing in the area there, and Christmas and all that sort of stuff was actually a very big thing in the search. So it was definitely a unique search, because I don't know about you guys, I don't get a lot of people who are like, I need a house that I can put a tree up in. That's usually a secondary consideration, not a primary consideration for a house hunt. That was definitely Mark's upbringing. And then Carter actually grew up in the North Shore of Chicago, up, I believe, in Lake Forest. And so very different upbringings, very different homes that they grew up in. And so Carter was, I think, very much, I would like something done. I don't want to work. I want to move in and be done with it. And so that's where their search started.
Cool. And okay, so they looked at 3 different properties. That's the structure of the show, right?
Yep.
Who picked those properties?
Okay, so first of all, there were more than 3 properties. Just behind the scenes, director's cut here. There were definitely more than 3 properties. The show and their production team picked the properties. So aside from the property that we ended up purchasing, they identified a couple properties that they felt would be good homes to shoot in. Of course, certain homes, people don't want crews inside. Other homes aren't ideal for shooting. Maybe it's too tight, not the right lighting, whatever. So that was all part of the consideration. But the production team was super helpful. They had the properties already identified that they wanted to shoot in, and it was a good, I'd say, blend or kind of viewpoint of what we were already looking at. So these weren't like out of left field homes.
Okay. Yeah. And as far as timing, how long did it take you from, the time that you had talked to production until filming?
So backstory with Carter and Mark, I was actually under contract with them on another home. And I think she made reference to power cords several times in the show. So I'm going to give everybody a quick behind the scenes understanding of this. So the home that we ended up going under contract on first didn't work out. Carter's father actually had said that he was concerned that the power cords were too close to the steel staircase, and that, in his words, I'm not making this up, if someone were to walk holding a saber upright, they could cut the cord would fall, touch the metal, and would kill everyone. It seemed a little extreme in terms of an example, but nonetheless, it became an ongoing sort of joke that we would say, "Oh, look how close those are." So we ended up having some fun with that, but once they fell out of that contract, we found another one within probably about 2 to 3 weeks, and from the time we started production to the time we started filming was probably about 4 to 5 weeks or so. There was some preparation on the production side of getting things ready, and then ultimately getting ready to shoot.
Oh wow, that's longer than I thought. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So we so funny thing was we actually started filming. I believe it was in end of October, beginning in November. And then we filmed probably 3 or 4 different times over the course of about 5 or 6 weeks. Unfortunately, with their production schedules, the production crew had to come and go periodically. And so we just would film certain things. Like they do specific shoots with just the couple certain days. Then they do the home tours with me and the couple. And then, they do some other shooting for B-roll stuff and things like that.
Okay. So I'm sure you've seen this meme going around Facebook where it says, I walk iguanas and my wife sells umbrella insurance and our budget is $2.1 million. So is everything about Mark and Carter's jobs and everything else, is that accurate?
It was. I think you highlighted it when we first started talking. I mean, that was a budget I was a little surprised with at first. And obviously, with their background, it was one of those things that, as soon as they were pre-approved, we just went out and started finding properties and going from there. But yeah, it's not your typical, I work at a bank and I'm a comedian and I can afford, $1 million home or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's unique.
That's awesome. Did you watch the episode?
I did. So it was during a heat wave here in Chicago, and our air conditioning was out. So we had the air conditioning repairman here late. He was fixing everything, coming and going. So we actually started a little late. We watched it though. I was getting a bunch of texts probably about like a 15-minute delay, but it was fun. My newborn daughter and my wife and I just sat down on the couch as the air started to cool off, and we enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, what was your favorite part of the experience, and would you actually do it again?
So my favorite thing about it was, it was something that my clients really wanted to do. And so I knew some people in the production team. And so I reached out to them about it. And since my clients had interest in it, I wanted to do what I could to make my clients happy. So we connected with them. I gave a ringing endorsement of Mark and Carter. I said, this is a couple meant to be on reality TV. I meant that in a good way, by the way, just to be clear. And I knew they would sell the rest, and they did. So they ended up talking to the production team. The team loved them. They wanted to film with them, and I would do it again. I think it just depends on the right couple that wants to be on it. I don't feel like it's about me. It's more about the couple that makes the episode. So if it's the right couple and they want to be on it, then I'm willing to do what's necessary to make them happy.
Going above and beyond for your clients. I love it.
Yeah, well, we all do it.
We do. So have you seen any increase in business, or, do you think you're going to continue show business? Or anything changed for you since your spotlight?
That's right. Well, I got to find a new reality pitch show with the Deckers and me. If we can figure that out, then I'm in. I think that's where I want to go. I would probably consider doing it again under the right circumstances. But I think what I've seen so far, and being that the episode just aired, I think a couple weeks ago, it was a lot of people reaching out, emails, texts, messages, on Facebook and social media, just saying, hey, I caught the show. It was awesome. You did a great job. And so, haven't really been able to truly figure it out. I've gotten a few referrals from people who I connected with after they left messages, who put me in touch with people. So there is some benefit to it, but I think it's a little early to say, how much came from it. And by the way, the live Twitter going on during the House Hunters episode is phenomenal. I ended up hearing from Mark as the show was going on. He was trending as Captain Christmas, and I was referred to as the cleaner. So I'm good with it. I liked it. It was a good time.
Oh, that's so cool. And if anyone wants to reach you on social media, where can they find you?
So my team account is at Windy City Agents on Instagram. My personal Instagram is at jkotoch, Kotoch, and otherwise Joe Kotoch Real Estate on Facebook. And happy to answer whatever questions or connect however people want.
All right. Well, if you want to catch the episode, if you haven't yet, it is season 191. Episode 5, right, of House Hunters, called Year-Round Christmas in Chicago. So catch it on HGTV, and we will catch you on the next Dealing with the Deckers.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.